We have to do is see the complexity of this problem and the vastness of it. And then we will realize that we are going to have to forget some of these so-called organizational principles and organizational aims and objectives and realize that the real principle, the real aim, and the real objective is a solution to the problem.
A police state. Just make the Negro neighborhood a police state. It's the most heavily patrolled. It has more police in it than any other neighborhood. Yet it has more crime in it than any other neighborhood. How can you have more cops and more crime? Why? It shows you that the cops must be in cahoots with the criminals. You make my point. That as long as a white man does it, it's all right. A black man is supposed to have no feelings. We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We want it now, or we don't think anybody should have it.
So whatever kind of action program can be devised to get us the things that are ours by right, then I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever necessary to get that criminal off my back. And the injustice that has been inflicted upon Negroes in this country by Uncle Sam is criminal. Don't blame a cracker in Georgia for your injustices. The government is responsible for the injustices. The government can bring these injustices to halt. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people. We are loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us.
The government says it is ready to host this year's
This is Africa.
Right now, when you talk about megacities,
The government says it is ready to host this year's Africa Climate,
where African nations have been challenged to unite and confront climate change.
US President Joe Biden will host leaders from across the African continent.
The United States is all in on Africa's future.
Africa, a continent that for decades has been associated with poverty, political instability, and conflict in mainstream media. But that narrative is not only outdated, it is outright wrong. This is a story of a rising Africa, a continent of potential, untapped resources, explosive growth, and an emerging force in the global economy. Today, we are going to explore why Africa is the most underestimated continent and why the world can't afford to ignore it any longer. Let's start with a fact that might surprise you. Africa is massive. It's often distorted on global maps, but the reality is you could fit the United States, China, India, Japan, and much of Europe into the landmass of Africa. The continent is home to 54 countries, 1.4 billion people, and an abundance of natural wealth. In fact, Africa is sitting on 30% of the world's known mineral resources, including gold, diamonds, and oil. The Democratic Republic of Congo alone holds over 60% of the world's cobalt reserves, a mineral critical for electric vehicles, batteries, and the global energy transition. The world's future literally runs on Africa's resources. Yet for years, Africa's wealth has been poorly managed, underutilized, or extracted for foreign benefit. But that's changing. Africa isn't just resource rich, it's people rich. The continent is the youngest in the world with a median age of just 19 years. Compare that to Europe or North America, where the median age is closer to 40. What does this mean? By 2050, Africa's population is expected to nearly double to 2.5 billion. More than 1/4 of the world's population will live on this continent. This surge in youth represents both a challenge and an opportunity. If these young people are educated, empowered, and given jobs, Africa could become a workforce superpower, fueling industries and innovations that benefit the entire world. Countries like Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Egypt are already harnessing this advantage. Lagos, for example, is projected to become the world's most populous city by 2100, an economic engine in a rapidly urbanizing Africa. Africa's economic growth is another story that deserves attention. 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies are in Africa. Countries like Rwanda, Ghana, and Ivory Coast are growing at rates that rival Asia's economic boom of the 1990s. What's driving this? Investment in infrastructure, urbanization, and a thriving entrepreneurial class. Take Kenya, for example. Its capital, Nairobi, is home to a booming tech hub dubbed the Silicon Savannah. Here, startups are solving problems that Silicon Valley often overlooks, like mobile banking. Africa leads the world in fintech adoption, with companies like M-Pesa transforming how people save, spend, and send money. Then there is renewable energy. Africa has abundant solar, wind, and hydropower resources. In fact, nations like Morocco and South Africa are leading the global transition to clean energy with massive solar farms and green hydrogen projects. Africa is not a passive bystander in the 21st century. It's an active player. Beyond economics, Africa's role in global geopolitics is also growing. Major powers like China, the United States, and Russia are competing for influence across the continent. China's Belt and Road Initiative has poured billions into African infrastructure, building ports, roads, and railways in exchange for resources and alliances. Meanwhile, Western nations are ramping up investments and partnerships to counter China's influence. And Africa itself, it's uniting. The African Continental Free Trade Area, launched in 2021, is set to become the largest free trade zone in the world by population and area. This agreement could revolutionize trade across the continent, reducing barriers and boosting African manufacturing. African nations are also asserting themselves on the global stage, demanding fairer partnerships, reform of international institutions, and a bigger voice in addressing global challenges like climate change and debt. Yet, despite all this progress, perceptions lag behind reality. Yes, Africa still faces significant challenges. Poverty, corruption, and infrastructure gaps are real issues. But what continent hasn't faced these obstacles during its development? The Europe of today wasn't built overnight, neither was Asia. The African story is one of resilience and progress. It's about shifting from dependence to independence, from exploitation to opportunity. Think of the creative industries. Afrobeat music, Nollywood films, and African fashion are global phenomena reshaping culture worldwide. African talent is taking center stage, proving that Africa's influence isn't limited to its resources, but extends to its people, ideas, and creativity. So here's the bottom line. Africa isn't rising, it's already here. Its challenges are real, but so is its momentum. By 2050, Africa's young, innovative, and resource-rich nations will play a central role in the global economy. For businesses, investors, and policymakers, ignoring Africa is no longer an option. It's a missed opportunity. To truly understand the 21st century, you need to understand Africa, because Africa is the future, and the sooner the world realizes this, the better.
Every black boy in America wants to be a rapper or an athlete. Because we don't prioritize education, brothers and sisters. And they deliberately do not prioritize education, brothers and sisters, because there is a fear of black intelligence. Oh, yes, it is. See, what they don't tell you is most of the major inventions that America uses today came out of the minds of black people who did not get an education sitting next to white people. See, brothers and sisters, we invented the gas mask, and we wasn't sitting next to white children when we invented the gas mask. We wasn't sitting next to white children when we invented the stoplight. We weren't sitting next to white children when we invented the self-lubricating engine. We weren't sitting next to white children when we invented the refrigerated truck, the golf tee, the radio transmitter. We weren't sitting next to white children when we came up with the technology for the cell phone or the internet. All of these things we did on our own in those old, dilapidated black schoolhouses right here in Jacksonville, Florida. See, what y'all don't know is the reason the Supreme Court desegregated the schools was not to give black children a better education. The Supreme Court desegregated the schools on May 17th, 1954, because the white power structure was afraid that if we don't take over the education of black children, they may one day surpass our own children. You know what gave birth to these black Wall Streets? Those dilapidated black schoolhouses. And America was scared that if you don't bring the Negro under our direct academic supervision, he will surpass our white children. They didn't integrate the schools to help us out. They integrated the schools to dumb us down. You don't believe me? Guess what? Intelligence tests done on children from birth to age 5 reveal that African babies outperform the children, the infants of any other race, including the Asians. Our children outperform all other groups. They even tell you in developmental psychology that black children grow quicker than all the other children put together. Well, if the brain is responsible for intelligence, and if the brain is responsible for physical development, if the black child physically grows quicker than the other children, doesn't it also reason that the black child might be intellectually quicker than the other children also? That's why they came up with these IQ tests. I need you to understand something, Jacksonville, Florida. Testing came to America. Wonder why every black boy in America wants to be a rapper or an athlete. Because we don't prioritize education, brothers and sisters. And they deliberately do.
For example, in secondary school, but I was living in Sarfalau, which is about 7 kilometers away. But I tell you, I walked for a long time. In the morning and in the evening, I would walk back and forth until a friend of my older brother lent me his bike. But I believed in what I wanted. It was, how do I put it? It's a conviction. What Dad taught us since childhood, as I was saying, he guided us. We always wanted to be better. And that meant we never gave up. The goal was to always be better at school, and that meant that nothing could distract us. And the education we received, even if we didn't eat, doesn't mean we should be discouraged. Yes, because the 3 years, how shall I say, the secondary years, it was not so simple. It was a bit difficult. 1 meal a day very often, but it doesn't matter. I cooked myself, I did everything myself. But I had to stay focused on the goal. What mattered to me was that by the end of the term, I had to achieve a certain average, and that was it. The love of being a soldier has always been within me. As I said, my dad was a soldier before he became a nurse. Since childhood, I was always learning with those boots, those heavy helmets that were at home, I would wear them. So I know they knew I had a love for the profession, but my mom never wanted to have a military child. And in 4th grade, I took the excellence exam. And in 5th grade, my teacher was determined that I would pass no matter what. The British competition, but the mother fiercely opposed it because she didn't want it anymore. She surely saw the suffering of the dad as a military man, so she did not want any of her children to be a military man. She refused. I keep working. I have a scientific inclination, which is why I pursued a scientific track all the way to university, where I was studying geology. After high school, I knew I could still be in the Army region, but she refused. But when she refused me something, I couldn't push it, because if you force it, it's not good. So I continued in my master's year, still at university. I asked again. I said it's the army that I want. I was doing well in geology. I could do whatever I wanted, you know. There were a lot of scholarship opportunities because I wasn't exactly the bottom of the class, you know. But it was in my master's year that she gave me permission. And I took the academy test. I went to do my training, and there you go, I became an army officer. I was convinced if she gave me her blessing, she told me to go for it this time. So I was convinced, I knew what I was doing. I was at the mixed high school in Dakarville, for example, in secondary school, but I was living in Sarfalau, which is about 7 kilometers away. But I tell you, I walked for a long time. In the morning and in the evening, I would walk back and forth until a friend of my older brother lent me his bike. But I believed in what I wanted. It was, how do I put it? It's a conviction. What Dad taught us since childhood, as I was saying, he guided us. We always wanted to be better. And that meant we never gave up. The goal was to always be better at school, and that meant that nothing could distract us. And the education we received, even if we didn't eat, doesn't mean we should be discouraged. Yes, because the 3 years, how shall I say, the secondary years, it was not so simple. It was a bit difficult. 1 meal a day very often, but it doesn't matter. I cooked myself, I did everything myself.
This big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
With too many people. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that. We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So in the next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
History teaches us that the next pandemic is a matter of when, not if.
We know what's next. We're going to have another major coronavirus pandemic before the end of this decade, before 2030.
If we really want to prevent the next pandemic, and there will be one, there will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic. It may be next year.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead.
We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1, reducing population growth. That's this big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
With too many people.
But everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing it.
The Tampa market.
In Northeast Africa, precisely on the horn of Africa.
The Labour Party.
All right. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. I know it's new technology, so sometimes something different happen. That is what's going on here. But anyway, welcome back again. This afternoon, this is Frank. I am your host. This is WCC, the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture CV aspect of WCC every Sunday at 1 p.m. Once again, today's topic it says, does it make sense? US $1.5 million to Liberia for voter confidence. Now, before I get into this, right, let's talk about the last video. Let me get 1 minute about the last video. I don't like how these screens look like. I don't want to waste my time today. I don't know if I should delete. All right. God, why is it like this? All right, let's continue. So let's talk about the last video that I played. And now I'm going to be going into various videos a bit, right? But look at the last video that I played. At the beginning, they all said their aim is to depopulate the earth. Their aim is to kill population, is to kill human being, because human beings are more, right, on the planet. Now, if you pay attention, that's why sometimes we play these videos, right? But if you pay attention to how in sequence that I play the video, there was one video about rising Africa. It says, right, the labor force or the young folks, right, is like 19 in Africa. And then in Europe, right, or the Western world is about 30 to 40, the younger folks, right? And they say population is declining. Now, on the other hand, if they say population is declining in the West, in the Western world, and then on the other hand, Africa, right, is the only continent where population is increasing, right? And then the labor force is actually 19, in the range of 19. And then the Western world, the labor force, right, declining, and the labor force actually in a range of between 30 to 40, in between there. Now, and then the same Western world come and tell you, because when you look at it, population has already decreased, have already declined. But they are telling you they want to decrease population, they want to kill human being, right? And then on the other hand, they say, how can we do that? It's to create more vaccine. And they are clear about this. Now, they are clear about this, already telling you the next pandemic. And then in there, this is where we human beings, right, have to think. They say, according to history, right, the next pandemic, this. Now, have you read history? And then it tells you, if a pandemic comes, the next pandemic is going to be severe more than the one that just came. No. That is man-made, because their aim is to decrease population, is to kill human beings on a planet Earth, right? Now, they brought out the first virus, right? And the expectation of this virus to depopulate the Earth, that did not happen. What is going to happen? The next virus they're going to come out with, the next particle they're going to come out with, right? Now, it's going to be more dangerous, more than the one they brought. So that is what they say. They are certain it's going to come. They believe it. So that when the next virus comes, don't be delusional or hallucinating to think that, oh, these people are coming to fight for you. Oh, the next virus that came is coming from space. It's coming from the creator. It's coming from God. Those of you that believe in religion now, because you will start saying, oh, Allah, this is Allah. Oh, Jesus, those that believe in Jesus. Oh, this is Jesus. Oh, those that believe whatsoever religion you believe in. Now you attempt to like God and be saying it is a God that doing this, because it was predicted by the same people who said their aim is to depopulate the earth. Now, what does that mean? Is that it's actually Africa that they want to depopulate, because they already know the Western world have been depopulated already. Look at the labor force. They already know, right? The younger folks are not there. the labor force are not there. And each time these people go on social media, platform whatsoever, they always talk about Africa by the year this. In fact, it was predicted by the Pentagon by the year 2050, right? About every 5 or 4 human beings you see, one will be African. And what did they say? By the year 2050, half of the world, right, will be Africans. Half of the population in the world will be Africans. What does that mean? Migration going to take place. Migration going to shift. That's what I mean. And we already see it. We already see what happened in Africa now, right? Non-Negro going to Africa now getting citizenship. The last time I checked, we saw in Ghana about 300 non-Negro, non-Black taking citizenship in Ghana. What does that tell you? So think about this, when we are, sometimes you see some of these videos because we may not have the time, right, to go through some of these videos. So we play as introduction so that you can actually know what is going on. Because they already told you the next pandemic going to come. And this go to the African leaders. Because are they saying the next pandemic going to come, they are preparing for their citizens. They are preparing for their people. And then once the next pandemic comes, they see when they did it to coronavirus. They see when they did it to Ebola virus. You're going to get no treatment and Africa is going to be neglected. And then we will come out here again. We blame these people. No, we can't be blaming these people all the time. We have to be blaming our African leaders. We have to be blaming those that are in authority. We have to be blaming those so-called African journalists in order for them to do the right thing, to be able to defend Africa, right? In their news, in their reports. Because, look, there is no neutral media or journalists, especially when it comes to the West. They are all propaganda media. And they all work for their governments. They all. The UK media work for the UK's government. The United States media work for the United States government. The Chinese media work for the Chinese government. The Russian, all of them, they work for the Chinese government. It is only in Africa because we always want to blend in with other people. We always want to ally. We are neutral. We want to do this. We want to do this. But they can't ask the relevant question. They can't ask the tough question. They don't do proper research. Their research are based on the same Western narrative. So the next pandemic, are we going to sit and blame the same Bill Gates and blame the same Fauci for them being injustice against Africa, for them not providing the same medical support they provide to the West to Africa? We saw that with the coronavirus. Have we not still learned? And these people are telling you they are going to bring the next pandemic. The next pandemic is not going to come from the sky. It's going to come from the same lab. The same way Ebola was created, coronavirus was created. These people are creating another virus again, and that is why they're telling you it is certain it's going to come. So are you going to come here again and blame the Western doctor? They are scientists. That, oh, you neglect Africa. You did not get Africa the same preferential treatment you give to your people. That would be BS to come and sit down and blame these people again. We should be blaming our African leaders who refuse to invest in Africa medically, who refuse to educate their people, to invest in their people, who refuse to properly govern Africa. And this is why, since they refuse to be nationalist, this is why most of these so-called African leaders will blame President Donald Trump. But guess what? To that topic, it says, does it make sense? Now, let me say this first. If there is any Liberian that is watching, let me say this. I give you a warning to please leave. If, let me put it this way, if what is about to be discussed here it's not going to be in your interest, leave right now before I even start. If you're a Liberian and you are not a nationalist, but you believe in your political party, leave right now. Because this is a revolutionary channel. We don't care whether it's about who, it's about this. we're not here to sugarcoat anything. If you believe party over nation, if you believe party over national idea, leave the platform right now. If you are a Liberian, leave. Or if even you are an African and you believe in party, political party, over national agenda, over national idea, over national policy, leave right now, because this is not going to be in your interest today. Leave. It's not going to be in your interest. I give you a clear-cut warning. Please leave and don't watch and don't come back, because this is not going to be in your interest. And to those who have watched the recording, there's a warning. If you believe that this political party is my political party, so even if the wrong thing is happening, I will back the wrong. Please leave, because today is not for you. Leave. This discussion is not for you, because I can tell you, you are not going to like it. And even if you are not, on the other hand, a partisan, but a Liberian who believes, so-called aid, that what I'm about to say here today, is against Liberia. I'm talking against Liberia. Leave. This is not for you. Now, a hint to a why is quite sufficient. Does it make sense for US $1.5 million to Liberia for voter confidence? Does it make sense? What is voter confidence? So are they telling us, in order for people to gain a courage, in order for Liberians, so-called Liberian, to gain a courage to go vote for people they feel that will be the best president or will be in their best interest, America have to come and give them money to go and vote? The US have to come and give them their taxpayer money to go and boost their confidence to go and vote? Are you kidding me? In order to boost voter confidence, in order for voters to go to the poll to vote, the US have to give them money. Isn't that is corruption in the first place? No. Isn't that is corruption? If somebody don't want to vote, if somebody don't have the courage to vote. Now, I'm going to say this in the first place. This money, this $1.5 million, it does not go to voters. It does not go to the poll watcher. It does not go to the observer, to those very polling stations. This $1.5 million is a bribe to the election commission. This $1.5 million go to the election commission. It's a bribe to the Liberian election commission from the United States government about who to put in power. Let me make that clear. But now, let's play the devil advocate hypothetically. That is a corruption, hypothetically now. If this $1.5 million is going to the voters, it's corruption. I don't want to vote. In the US here, if people don't want to vote, do you give them $1.5 million to boost citizen confidence to go vote? Do you give them money to go to the poll watcher to go vote? Do you call them and give them check to go vote? Do you call them and tell them, say, you know what, we beg you go vote, so we're going to give you money to go vote? Do you do that? Do you raise the confidence of voters by giving them money to go vote? Oh, but then the US government, what have you been doing that? What have you been giving our checks to go vote? You need to give our money every election period. You need to write a check every election period for people to go vote. Because the voter confidence in the United States right now is going down. No more confident. Because people don't believe in government again no more. So are you going to be writing checks to various citizens? Look, folks, we need to start, this is why Africa is not developing. This is why Africa is not developing. And this is why most of these puppet African leaders hate Abraham Traore. This is why most of them hate Assimi Goïta. This is why most of them hate Tiani. So to speak, the AES nations. But let me ask the same Liberians, some of them who think what I'm saying here is harsh. Let me ask them. Has the voters, have any Liberian received any money to go and vote? Because the last time that I checked, even these past elections, there was pool washer who were to those very polling stations. They never had food to eat. They never had water to drink. It was individuals who had to go volunteer to give them food. It was individuals, Liberian, I'm not saying Americans. It was individuals, Samaritan, good Liberian, who went and gave some of these pool washer water to drink. So where did the $1.5 million United States dollar go to the Election Commission? We ask you a question. Where did the $1.5 million United States go? You see, some of you Liberian, you will not like this because you think, oh, that's money going to the government or that's money going to the country. So why am I talking against it? I'm not here to talk against the betterment of Liberia. I am not here to talk against what made Liberia better or to progress. I am here to talk against the corruption. This is corrupt. The United States government is corrupt. Where is this $1.5 million? What have they done to Liberia to increase voters' confidence? Let me ask you this, Liberian. Have anybody come to your house during campaign or before campaign? Have there been any facility put in place encouraging you about voting, right? Encouraging you about, does it make sense in the first place? So do we want to blame Donald Trump? If Donald Trump said this is corruption, if Donald Trump said this is fraud, what have they done to Liberian? Liberia, let me ask you this question. Those of you now that are saying Donald Trump is this, oh, Donald Trump is bad, oh, $1.5 million, that's a good money for the country, that's a good. But check, this 2023 election I just passed, what happened? Was it not rigged? Was it not rigged? Did all the ballot paper go to the Election Commission for counts? Did all the ballot paper go to the Election Commission for counts? We need to start thinking the United States government is corrupt. Because this money is not going or have not been going to increase voter confidence. Don't you have confidence of who you want to vote for? You see, this dependency on Western aid is a problem. That is why African government, Liberian government have always failed to create policy. This reliance on foreign aid, this reliance on Washington, D.C., this reliance on United States Congress for aid, for money, have always been the problem. That Liberia is like that today. But at the end of the day, it is the same resources, they loot, they steal, they just take something. They make billions of dollars. All of your same resources. And then take 1 million and then come and give it to you in aid. And you agree and you sit on there. What have this $1.5 million done to increase voter confidence? To the voters in Liberia. Do you know where this money go? Have this money been spent on you? When you go to vote, when you stand online, when you stood online, this 2023 election, who brought water for you to drink? In order to still stay on the land, who brought you food to eat? In order to remain on that land for you to vote, who brought you food? Who brought you water? When some of you are fainting because it was hot, who brought you medical facility? Even when the same president, inauguration day, when he fainted almost to die. Oh, so they use some of those voter confidence, $1.5 million to bring him back to life? Let us be real here. Let us be frank here. Because I think some of you people, before you get angry at me, go and ask the election commission. Okay, all right, we agree. The U.S. gave up $1.5 million for voter confidence. Where did they use it? Now go and ask the election commission. How did it get used? The reality is that $1.5 million, it did not go to citizens, it did not go to voters, it went to the election commission. That's a bribe. They gave this money to the election commission, the higher, to rig the election in favor of the United States. Who the United States government want to go in power, that's the person that will go in power. That's why these $1.5 million are being given, or is being given, or have been given. The rig election is not for you. You think they care whether you vote or you don't vote? They care for that. When you have dilapidated education, they don't invest in it. You have dilapidated healthcare system, they don't invest in it. When you got no roads, they don't invest in it. No agriculture, they don't invest in it. And this is not even a campaign I'm running to say, oh, they need to go invest in those things. They don't have to. They don't. The U.S. does not have to. They are not forced to invest in our healthcare system. They don't force. They don't have to. If we are independent now, they don't have to invest in education. They are not forced. They don't have to. So Donald Trump, you are right. The U.S. does not have to. We have government. We have 3 branches. We have resources. We have constitution. We say we are independent. So Donald Trump is not forced. They are not forced to build our roads. They are not forced to give up money for fundings of various sectors in Liberia. They are not forced. That is why these lawmakers are empowered in Liberia, taking pay. That is why they call them lawmaker. Lawmaker is a policy maker. Lawmaker, they are decision maker. Oh, so you are telling us the lawmaker in Liberia, they are gangster, they are looter, they are rogue. Because that's the definition that you're trying to point to us. To say, if the United States government take our aid, then Liberia going to... Listen to this, folks. Listen to this right here. Maybe I'm talking too much, but let me pull out something here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me see. See the language. See the language they use here. Look at the language they use here. Look right here. See right here. Let me show you something. Look at the language. Look at the language they use here. Liberia faces uncertain future. Liberia faces uncertain future. As the $1.5 million voter confidence canceled. So let me, there will be no more Liberia. So that means sectors in Liberia will fail, will be the end. If it will be the end, then let me ask a question. Since the U.S. been giving this 1.5 million, have voter situation in Liberia been rectified or have it improved? Have it increased? Now, let's do this. Have healthcare system in Liberia been improved for the citizens to meet the demand, the needs of the people? Liberian, a truthful, meaningful Liberian should not see any issue with this. If Donald Trump say no more of this money should go to Liberia, absolutely he's right. Because it is not giving anything that we can see. Look right here. Let's read something here. Let's read something here. Under Elon Musk's leadership, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOG, right? The Department of Government Efficiency on Saturday, February 15, 2025, shocked Liberia. Shock Liberia? No. A real Liberian who want to be free, who want to be independent, this will shock you. But anyway, let's read what analyze it. Shock Liberian development agenda. Look at this. A shock Liberian development agenda by canceling a crucial 1.5 million project designed to bluster voter confidence in the country. Jesus. The cancellation came on the heel of Musk's earlier decision to add 17 million. Look at another one. 17 million tax reform initiative to modernize Liberia tax policy. America should come and give up money again to tell us how we should manage our tax policy. So then we should dissolve the entire legislature. We should dissolve the entire executive, the entire judicial branch. We should dissolve them and then just give the country to the U.S. so that they can run the country on the model of the U.S. Period, as that. Because this is complete colonial government in Liberia there. This is complete colonial nation in Liberia. So we don't have government to know how we need to reform our tax policy, to know how taxes should, where taxes should be spent in the first place, man. Doesn't make sense. So the Liberian government does not know if they collect taxes, if they collect revenues from the citizen. They don't know where it's supposed to go, where it's supposed to be spent. They don't know which sectors those taxes supposed to go, supposed to be spent. So Liberian government does not know that. Liberian government does not know that the educational sector need money. It need to be strengthened. The healthcare need to be strengthened. Vocational need to be strengthened. They don't know that. Roads need to be. Agriculture need to be. They don't know that. So the United States government should come and pour another $17 million in it. Imagine this. So the United States government should spend $17 million to educate the lawmaking body, to educate the government. Jesus Christ, we're in trouble. Is that a nation? Is that a nation, folks? Do you believe this money is actually going to tax reform? No, this money are alternative motive. But they use these words in order to convey the Liberian people to believe that these money are being going to these places and stuff. Tax reform. In a statement via social media platform X, Musk questioned the cancellation of such fund, asking, why would anyone think that this is good use for your tax money? Yes. Why would anyone think? Why would any American think this is good of their tax money being taken, given to the Liberian government, to educate the Liberian government on how to collect taxes, on where taxes should be spent, when they collect the taxes, when they collect those money, where to spend them? Really? Liberian government, don't you know which part of your sector that you need to strengthen when you collect the money? Don't you know that you need good healthcare system so that your government official can stop coming overseas for medical treatment? Don't you know that when you leave power, you need to raise out the next generation who will run a country effectively? For the next generation to come and see a place that they call home, American government have to spend money to educate you. Then leave the government, leave those offices, and then go back to school. Because these are scholarships for you. Because American government put $17 million down as a scholarship for you, government official, to go back to school, to learn, and then go back and know how to manage your tax reform or your tax policy. But the issue here is these are bribes. Washington, D.C. is a corrupt government that bribes corrupt African government. This money are not going to places as they say. Because the tax policy in Liberia is horrible. The Liberian people does not see where their taxes go. So that means the U.S. government is not educated enough to be educating Africans. Because if they spend this kind of money, and then at the end of the day, the tax reform policy in Africa or in Liberia does not benefit the people. The people does not see where their tax money go. It does not reflect on what they pay. It does not reflect on their life. Then Washington, D.C. have been misleading the Liberian government. And we speak in that manner. So more ask, why would anyone think this is good use for your tax money? His decision to terminate both projects represents a broader strategy in scrutinizing government spending. Yes, scrutinizing government spending. Yes. And then they say here, let me see something here. You know, they say here, right? Particularly project that marks believe that Liberians talking now. Some Liberians speaking here now. Or the Liberian government, right? Particularly project that marks believe do not align with the interest of American taxpayer. Absolutely. If American people believe the money that is being spent in Liberia, it does not allow or it does not benefit American, why would they want to spend it there? And then it said for Liberia, however, the consequences of this move is devastating. The consequences of taking away the 17 million tax reform policy is devastating. The consequence of taking the 1.5 million so-called voter confidence is devastating. The consequence of taking the so-called USAID that have been known as a sponsor of terrorist activities around the African continent and around the globe is devastating. Really? So don't you know how to make policy? So you should be expecting these things that when it happens, how can you move your country forward? Look at this, right? Let me read something to you here, right? Despite receiving, this is Liberia, right? But you see, let me be frank here. Let me be blunt here before I even go, before I read it. And I want for Liberian people to know, these figures you see here, these are figures actually that are not being given for the purpose in which they name here. These money are given to corrupt government officials for, this is what they call American foreign policy. This is why no development going on in Liberia. Because America know exactly where this money go, why she gave this money, and to enter the individual, the reason she gave this money. Because if America say she can't give money to corrupt leader, why have they gone and asked this government official all this money they've been spending? Have it reflect on the life of the people? In fact, why would they want to ask? Because America herself is in the country. But look at this. Despite receiving, Liberia now, despite Liberia receiving over 2.5, let's say 2.4 billion. Come on, man. Come on, man. Liberia should receive over 2.5 billion, and the country is one of the poorest country in Africa. in the world. But look at this. Liberia, a small nation, just 5 million people. Just 5 million people. And it have received over $2.4 billion. So are you telling me we need $10 billion, $20 billion to actually improve Liberia, to actually take Liberia from where it is? 10 billion. We need 20 billion. We need 50 billion. Are you telling me that's what they're telling us here? But listen to this. Despite receiving over 2.4 billion in aid from the United States government since 2003. Since 2003. Look at this. Liberian. Look, let me put a pen down, man. This $2.5 billion, they are not saying since 1847. This $2.4 billion, they are not saying since 1847. They are saying this $2.5 billion, it has been given to Liberia as aid from 2003 to 2024. From 2003 to 2024. So are you telling me Liberia have been receiving, or Liberia have received over $2.4 billion in Liberia from 2003 to 2024? And look at the country dilapidated like that. There is no sector in Liberia that you can point to as the most vibrant sector that's serving the interest of the Liberian people. No sector in Liberia. There is no sector in Liberia. But they are saying from 2023 to 2024, let's say 2003 to 2024, over $2.5 billion have been given to Liberia in aid. But listen to this. Despite receiving over $2.4 billion United States dollar in aid since 2003, Liberia remains one of the world's poorest. One of the world's poorest countries. So let me ask this to you, Liberian. Now, why should you get angry at Donald Trump? If Donald Trump say, I am not sending money to corrupt leaders again, because this money have not improved or manifest on the life of the people, on the economic situation of the people, on the healthcare situation of the people, on the educational system of the people, vocational education of the people. Drugs, no effect on the people. In fact, Liberia is one of the countries in Africa there. Illegal drugs is proliferating. That is damaging life in Liberia. So, Liberian, common citizens, private citizens, why are you angry at Donald Trump? Shouldn't you be angry with your leaders? Shouldn't you be questioning your leaders? Where have this money been going? How did you spend this money? Where did you spend this money? Why are you getting angry at Donald Trump? If Donald Trump says, I am not sending this money again to Liberia, why can you tell Donald Trump thank you? Why can't you go question your government to do better? Why can't you hold your government to the fire or to their feet of this money? Why can't you question them where this money was spent or have been spent? Why are you getting angry at Donald Trump? For me, as a revolutionary, I am happy for the decision Donald Trump have taken, because I have evidence. I am not speaking of opinion. I am speaking on based what is written, based what have been given, and based what I have seen in Liberia. So I support Donald Trump's decision. I can knock my chest, because I can go anywhere and back my stand of why I support Donald Trump on the decision he's made about Liberia. I can knock my chest and defend, because I have those evidence. Let's read here. Despite receiving over $2.4 billion in aid from the United States government since 2003, Liberia remains one of the world's poorest countries. Isn't this a shame? to even the Liberian leaders? A government, one of the government can spend 12 years. Ellen, and she was one of those government. Under her administration, I remember, they canceled all Liberia debt. And then they gave her $4 billion. That is the evidence again there. Which we have researched and saw it, or we have seen it. They gave her over $4 billion to move various sectors in the country. What does she do with the $4 billion? Liberian people, shouldn't you be asking this question to these people? Should you blame Donald Trump? Should you insult Donald Trump? I think you should be insulting your officials. You should be costing your government officials. You should be happy for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is exposing these people. But let's continue. Liberia remains one of the world's poorest countries with an unemployment rate surpassing 90%. This continued reliance on aid has not translated into long-term development. So then, why should you be angry if Donald Trump says he's not giving aid to Liberia? So that means if you're angry at Donald Trump, you are happy that your government officials are being corrupt. You are happy for your corrupt government official to live better life, for their children to live better life, for their children to be sent overseas to school to write good guys in that country. You are happy for their children to insult you as common citizens, to insult you as Zogo when you are striving for your life. You shouldn't be angry at Donald Trump because look at this evidence. But some of you people will still read this and still blame Donald Trump. Instead of you blaming the proper channel, you will go and blame Donald Trump for exposing these people. Aren't you look, you should be happy. This continual reliance on aid has not translated into long-term development. In 2020, the United States government approved $640 million aid, $640 million aid package for Liberia, but nearly half of that funding remain unspent. Lamia was never spent to the place in which it was supposed to be for. The frozen on USAID project now risks derailing this initiative entirely, leaving Liberia with no clear path. Really? Leaving Liberia with no clear path to recovery or progress. Look, let me take this from there. When you read the entire thing, say, what? So that means there will be no more states. There will be no more Liberia. Really? Then we should take the entire government, dissolve the entire government, and just give Liberia to the United States government. Not that I even support that, because look at Puerto Rico. Because the United States government controls Puerto Rico, but look at Puerto Rico. But hypothetically, let's just put it this way. If the Liberian government, if the Liberian lawmaker, if the Liberian judicial system, executive, legislature, if they think, if America stopped giving aid to Africa or to Liberia, then there will be no more Liberia. Then Liberia will not progress. Liberia will not recover. Then stop taking paid. Stop taking $15,000 a month, because one representative, each representative $15,000 a month. Then stop it. Cut down your pay. Why should you have a free car? Why should you have free car? The government buy a free car for these people. Why should you have free car? Why should you have free gas slip? Why should you have, you got a salary, then you got monthly allowance again? Why should you have agriculture break? All of this nonsense spending. So, Donald Trump, I support you. Liberia government is corrupt. Take all this aid. They are corrupt. Because one government official receiving $15,000 United States dollars a month, that A United States representative does not receive. United States representative does not take 15,000 United States dollars a month. So Liberia is rich. Donald Trump, you are right. Take your aid. Liberia does not need it because government official taking $15,000 United States a month. Does the United States representative have free gas slave? Do you go with your own private car in US here as a representative? Let me ask you, Congress. Oh, Donald Trump, you are right. Donald Trump, as I know, in America here, US representative do not have free gas slave. Well, they will take their own private car and go to any gas station and get gas that the United States government pay for it. It does not happen here. So Liberia is rich. So why should you get aid to them when government officials are spending all this money? Government officials got workers for them in their own private home. And then the Liberian government pay for those people. In America here, a representative, if you have somebody in your home that is working for you, that is working, cleaning your home, the United States government does not pay for it. You pay for that person based on your own money you take. You pay that person. The American government does not pay that person. So look at all this. Why should we get angry? Donald Trump is right, folks. Liberian, don't get angry at Donald Trump. You should be asking your government official to reduce their salary. That's why they are there to make policy. If these things happen, what next to move Liberia forward? They should reduce their salary from 15,000 monthly to 3,000, 4,000 monthly. Instead of getting free gas slave, there should be no more free gas slave. Those money should be used in the healthcare system, in the educational system, to build roads, in agriculture, so that you can reduce your dependency on the US. You need to start producing your own food. This is what they need to be doing. Don't get angry at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is right. I, for one, as a Pan-African, I support him. And I can go anywhere, and if you ask me what I support Donald Trump and his policy decision about it, I will tell you why. I will back it off, not opinion. All right, let's look at another article. It says wasteful spending. Wasteful spending. Trump termed America aid to Liberia election. Yes, it is wasteful spending. Because it has made no impact on the livelihood of the people. President Trump, I support you for this. It is absolutely wasteful spending because Liberian lawmaker, representative receive 15,000 monthly. So it is wasteful spending, President Trump. The Liberian government, the officials get free gas slave. It is wasteful spending, President Trump, because in the US, American government, a law-making body, does not receive free gas slave. In Liberia, President Trump, Liberian government officials get agricultural break. And when they're coming from agricultural break, they are coming with good, fat salary. I can remember Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, a police of mine that was a representative, to whom many days he slept in my house here. Each time he came, he was first go to the Marriott Hotel at Philadelphia. When the money finished with girls, he was later in the hotel with women. And then when the money finished, and then before he made a call, and then he will come and sleep here, be here with us, and to all our friends, until time comes for him to go back to Liberia. That's how they ran the country. And each time he came for agriculture break, President Donald Trump, they came with 40,000 United States dollars for agriculture break. While the people in Africa or in Liberia, there was no agriculture, there was no farming. They did not invest in farming. The people starved, they died. In fact, as I can tell you now, President Donald Trump, people are dying on a daily basis. No food. They are starving. People are committing suicide. People are frustrated. President Donald Trump, it is wasteful spending because these people take agriculture break, but there's no farming system. There's no mechanism in Liberia, President Donald Trump. We support your decision. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, has listed Liberia among several other countries that Americans is spending wastefully. Americans is spending on wastefully. Yes. I just name you some of these instances. It is wasteful spending, President Donald Trump. It is absolutely wasteful spending. He highlighted that some US $1.5 million were directed towards voter confidence in Liberia. When Americans too need voter confidence, yes, President Donald Trump, Americans need those checks. Americans need those checks. Liberia does not deserve it. And when I say Liberia does not deserve it, not in a negative term against the common citizens, against the private citizens, against the people. Government official does not deserve it because the people do not receive this money, President Donald Trump. Government officials receive it and they put it in their banks and they come overseas with it. They use this same money when they are ill. They use this same money to come overseas to take better treatment. When they are ill, they use the same money to come overseas. They use the same money to come for vacations. And they go on a labeche to area President Donald Trump to where your even American government official cannot afford to go. That's why these Liberian corrupt leaders use this money. They go there for vacation where your government official cannot afford to go there for vacation with their family. That's why these Liberian government officials go there and lobby this money, President Donald Trump. So we support your decision, President Donald Trump. According to the Future Investment Initiative FII Priority Summit in Miami on Wednesday, February 19, 2025, the U.S. President said, these are just some. He could read as the list could go on all day long. We take this out. President Donald Trump, we support your decision. You are right. America has been wasting money. It is wasteful. It is wasteful. You are right, President Donald Trump. We support your decision. Don't give them money because the citizens do not see it. It do not impact the citizens. Let's watch this video as I take a quick break. Let me get water to drink.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the own affairs. There is a new African in the world. his own partner and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show.
All right. So that's the kind of Africa we want. And this is what President Donald Trump is telling you. The new Africa should not depend on aid. You know, this is why most of these corrupt African leaders, now we understand why they are against Abraham Traore. Now we understand why these African leaders, these corrupt African leaders, are collaborating with their colonial master to go against Abraham Traore. Now we understand why they do not want the AES nation to succeed. Now we understand why ECWA is telling Nana, or how they call it, John Mahama, to convince Abraham Traore or the AES to come to ECWA. But to President John Mahama, we salute you. We know you have Kwame Nkrumah blood. You have Kwame Nkrumah vision. We know you are inspired by Kwame Nkrumah. Please don't let Africa down like Nana Akufo-Addo let Africa down. Please don't do it. We believe you, President John Mahama. This is the Africa we want, and this is the Africa Donald Trump wants. That's what Donald Trump said, no more aid. Govern yourself. Make you sources of your resources. You are the richest continent in the world. Donald Trump is telling Africans, you should be the one giving our aid. You should be the one giving America aid despite we colonize you. Despite we enslave you. But see where we are today. Despite we use you to build our continent, to build our country, to build our nation. Despite we use you to build our institution. But see where we are now. We still depend on you. Don't you know that? You should be giving our aid. President Donald Trump is telling you. Listen when President Donald Trump speaks. He's wise. But you, some of you corrupt leader, some of you corrupt Africans will not understand. Some of you dependent who don't want to be independent, you will not understand. Some of you will go against President Donald Trump. No, let me say this. I am not preaching for him. I am preaching for the interest of Africa and African people. President Trump is President Trump. He knows what he's fighting for. And I know what I'm fighting for. He knows what he's defending. I know what I'm defending. He knows what he wants to be. And I know what I want to be. He knows the people he's fighting for. And I know the people I'm fighting for. You know, let's look at President Trump's remark, and we're going to analyze some of these things. Now, what he's saying here, some people may hate it. If you're not a Pan-Africanist, if you're not a revolutionary, if you don't know what you stand for, if you do not know what you stand for and what you want, you will hate what President Trump is saying here. But we are here to break it down for you.
Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions, a record, to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many. And what makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
All right, let's discuss something here first. I left that video right there. So this was done in Miami, I think on the 19th, right, of February. But listen to this. There's a point I want to make here. There are a lot of things in this video we're going to discuss. It's long, but we're not going to play up because we got to move on, right? But we're going to discuss what we're going to reach to where I want to discuss. But first of all, look at this video. He says something, right? Because in there were Democrats and there were Republicans. Now, there is something I want to make it clear. There was Democrat in there, there was Republican in there. Then the people you see clapping are the Republicans, and the people you see who are not clapping are the Democrat. Divided house, right? Now, divided house, right? That's the democracy, right? Divided house. In there, you see in there, right? Now, he said, the Democrat in there, even if he do the best thing, the Democrat will never stand to clap for him. They will never adore him, right? And he said, there's nothing he can do to help them. And then he made a sarcastic remark by saying, I can kill an epidemic of the war that can wipe the entire war out. I can find a cure, right, to prevent it. But with the Democrat, I don't have cue to prevent them or to think to like me. That's what basically he's saying, right? Now, and the people he's saying there are the Democrat. Now, let's go to African. Let's go to African. We got a lot of things to discuss here, right? Let's go to African. You know, you so-called Africans, You so-called African government, African advocates, African journalists, you so-called. This is America. What you saw happening here, or what you see here, some of you have watched it. Did you see on any media platform being discussed? Did you see it? Did you hear it, or did you see it being discussed on CNN, being discussed on ABC, BBC? Did you see it? Because you did not see it. And the reason you did not see it is not because CNN did not see it. It's not because CNN couldn't bring it. But CNN will not take this kind of embarrassment, right? And report on it for the world to see how divided the American democracy is. BBC will not take it and bring it to the world to show to the world how divided the American democracy is, even after election. Even after the people have voted massively. Even after there was an election that was free and fair. Even after there was an election that was only one round victory. They never talk about it. Because if they talk about this, the rest of the world who look up to America, especially the so-called African nation, the so-called African leader who look up to America, oh, democracy, oh, this. Here is America that is not practicing democracy, because this is after election. You see the agony, you see the frustration, you see the hate, you see the divide. So where are the media that are supposed to be neutral? You so-called African mud brain headed journalists. If this were in any African nation, now I'm not saying don't report on it, but if you're reporting on it, know how to report on it that will not divide your country, that will not divide the continent, that will not give negative image to your continent, to your nation. This is why CNN did not report on it, because I was going to give negative image to America. This is why BBC did not report, because I was going to give negative image to America. But you Liberian journalists, some of you are Facebook journalists, you'll be quick to report this. Oh, this is why democracy came in Africa. This is why African leaders. This is why. Now, it is not a bad thing to checkmate these African leaders. It is not a bad thing to put them in place. But know how you posture them. Know how you bring out certain things to defend your nation, to defend your continent. You see how America defends her nation? And there is no bad thing about it. There is no bad thing about it. They do what is in their best interest. What are you doing that is in your best interest as reporters, as educators? I bet you, most of you did not see this. You so-called journalists, African. Most of you did not see this. And most of you even saw this. But you couldn't stay analyze it to think. Because you have colonial brain. Revolutionary channel, right? We touch every area where you have fought. We touch it.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
So you see, that is to tell you, these American government officials do not believe in democracy. And that is why President Donald Trump is telling them, he's begging them for the good of America, at least for tonight, for America's sake. Let us celebrate our democracy to the world, because we tell the world we are democracy institution or nation. We just came for election, one round victory. Let us not make the world shame. Let us not make ourselves shame to the world. Let us celebrate. Let us make the world to understand we are a democratic nation. So you see how Donald Trump is checkmating and putting it in their faces. You saw Nancy Pelosi there. These people do not believe in democracy. These are globalists who use the global agenda to carry American foreign policy, which we have spoken on here, Sarah, I will keep speaking on it. Trump is a nationalist. He cares about his country. There is nothing wrong with that. If any African leader says Donald Trump is this, then we will ask you, you don't care about your country. You don't care about your nation. You don't care about your continent. And you don't care about your people.
Every day, my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid. I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council. We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term. And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job. And we have ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
Let me make another point. So he talked about his assassination attempt. So now you see, when that happened, how the media, you see the all here, right? When it happened, you saw how CNN, BBC, and other, how they reported it, that it was just some individual who wanted to kill him. You see it? You see how the reporter, it was just some individual who wanted to kill him. They did not report that it was an assassination attempt. But you see how Trump brought them to light. Trump said they were the one that tried to do it. And you know what he said? They tried to do it, but they know how it ended. It did not work. But see me here. I am the winner. They tried to kill me. They did not kill me. I am the winner here. And you see them sitting down there, like Nkrumah said. Their faces so hilarious. So you see how he's putting it in their faces. You guys try to kill me. You guys try to eliminate me. You guys try to assassinate me. But it did not work. You guys lied on me. But yet then stay. The American people got to know that you guys were lying. You guys ran propaganda. This is the same thing they do to the African nation. This is how they take down African leaders through propaganda. You saw it for 4 good years. How they ran propaganda. But it was so good for social media that even the Americans themselves are getting to realize that depending on CNN, depending on Western media for sources of information will mislead you, will make you to hate the person that love you and want to do the good thing for you. And then you will like your enemies. That's the power of Western media. They make you to hate the person who favor you. You will dislike that person. And you will hate or you will like the person who dislikes you. That's the power of Western media. They make the good to look bad and they make the bad to look good. Now, this is not to say I'm referring to Donald Trump being a good man here. I am talking about Africa, anything we say here. This is how systematically they have eliminated our leader. And Donald Trump is a reference here. He just made it clear to you. They tried to kill him. But he said they know how that ended.
And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America.
Okay, again. So that means the United States did not have official language. For some of you so-called African dumb-headed mud brain, if you see an African leader speaking, oh, he don't speak English. Oh, she don't speak English. And then you see an African speaking, oh, he don't speak English. Oh, he don't this, he don't this. English is not your language. So that means if Donald Trump is saying he officially declared English as America's official language, America did not have language. America have been using other people's language. Now again, let's make this clear. Do you know why he said he made English as America's official language? Trump is a nationalist. He's seeing the proliferation of other nationality in this country. The white men have to have an identity. The white men have to have a culture. This is deep. You don't understand, African. So, to you African leaders, this is not about America. I'm not going to go deep into it. Yeah, we got to save our channel here. But to you African, do you hate Donald Trump for this? What is your official language? What is your identity? Is French your official language? Is French your identity? Is English your official language? Is English your identity? That is why most of you are angry with Abraham Traore. When he say we don't want French identity, we don't want French influence, because some of you want to stay being colonized, you want to stay being slave. When he say we need our own currency instead of the French, our currency will be backed by our mineral resources, our uranium and gold, whatsoever it is. When he say we need Swahili, we need an African language to be our official language. It is the same African man who got angry. It is the same African man who will be hating on another African. You don't speak English. You don't speak Spanish. You don't speak Chinese. You don't speak English well. You don't speak Chinese well. You don't speak Portuguese well. You don't speak French well. But you will never yet a French telling another French you don't speak English well, because the French know that other French is not an English. He's a French. English is not a language. You will never hear an Englishman telling another Englishman you don't speak Fanti well, or you stupid, you dog, or you don't speak Ewe, or you stupid, you dog. You don't speak Igbo, you stupid, you dog. You don't speak Swahili, you are dog. You don't see an Englishman telling another Englishman that. None of the Chinese, none of the Australian, none of the Indian. But it is only the Africans. You will see mocking another Africans. You don't speak English well. They don't want to associate themselves with you. Even get government position in Africa. If you can't speak English, you will not get it. In Africa, if you don't speak French, you will not get it. In Africa, if you don't speak Portuguese, you will not get it. In Africa, if you don't speak French, you will not get it. Spanish, you will not get it in an African nation, on the African continent. We are battle about other people's identity, erasing our identity. What is wrong with us? Getting our identity. What is wrong with us making Swahili an official language? What is wrong with us making Igbo an official language? What is wrong with us making Fanti an official language? What is wrong with us making Tui an official language? What is wrong with us? I remember when I was in Ghana, you can even speak Twi in school. They will punish you. You have to speak English. They catch you speaking Twi. Your senior prefect they will say, kneel down, kneel down, kneel down. You do your hand like that, they whip you. They go report you to the school prefect that you spoke Valancola. And they will make you 2 buckets of water on your head. We did all of that in Ghana. Now, I'm just using Ghana as a reference, but in all the African nations as a whole, they do that day. They will punish you from speaking vernacular. You don't speak your own dialect, they will punish you. On an African continent, in an African institutions, they speak, they got French as a subject. They don't have local dialect as a subject. They have English as a subject, no local dialect as a subject. They have Portuguese as a subject, no local dialect as a subject. They got Spanish as a subject, no local dialect as a subject. Even if it is there, nobody want to do it. Because it is the same African that will look down on you. Not taking French, but taking Igbo, taking Ewe, taking Fanti. Not taking English, not taking Portuguese, not taking Spanish. But if you take the look of a local, they look at you as dumb, as stupid.
I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
All right. He's a nationalist. Again, he renamed the Gulf of Mexico as Gulf of America. Now, am I angry? For what? For what? There's a nationalist. But let's go to the African leaders. Let's go to the African authority. Why do we have these colonial names in Africa? Why do we have this colonial identity in Africa? We have roles we name it in the name of this enslaved colonizer. It stay in their honor. It stay there. Why? Why? Why do we have colonial names, street names, identity in Africa up to this time? We still have it. Why should you be angry with Donald Trump? Why can you be nationalist too? Nationalism is not a bad thing. In fact, nationalism is what currently going on not only in America, not only with Donald Trump. The entire world, the entire Western nations. Nationalism, national agenda is what next. It's what going on. It's what will empower you. It's what people will look at and join with you to collaborate with you. Globalism is a scam. It has been a scam and it is a scam. The US government had beyond globalism. The Western nation had beyond globalism. And do their dirty deeds. Why do you have those street names? Why do you have those identity, colonial identity in Africa? Trump got my support. It may not be on everything, but he got my support in most.
And likewise, I renamed for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again.
And this go to my own so-called colonial country, Liberia. We still have a man name as our capital city. A man name that our capital city, Liberia, the capital city, Monrovia, was named in his honor. Who is this man? James Maroon, a Virginia governor during the time of slavery, during the time of colonization. A man who have over 300 black women, a rapist. A man who used over 300 Africans as sex slave, have them pregnant, and then sold the babies to plantation owner. That's why you have mulattoes all around here, mulattoes. Some of you are children of the slave master from the sex farm. Sorry to say this, folks. It is history. It is the past. We got to speak it. This is where most of these mulatto issues came from. Because you have these people, have these African women as sex slaves, having sex with them, impregnate them, they gave birth, and then they sell the babies to the plantation owner. That's why you got mulatto babies around plenty. They disown them. So what is wrong with that? We have Liberia, the capital city, Monrovia, being honored in the name of a slave master who touched up and raped our mothers, our sisters. James Maroon. That name have to be changed. That name have to be changed. Why should you hate Donald Trump being a nationalist? Why should you hate Donald Trump when he says we don't want foreign name On any American identity, we should have American names. That alone, in Africa, we have colonial identity, colonial honor. A whole nation capital city was named in honor of a rapist, James Maroon. And we are proud of it.
Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military.
We're going to take that out, right? But look at what he said. Diversity, equity, this, that. And these are money. Corrupt money. They use to brag. But they use these terms to lie to the American public, to lie to the African public. But those money are going to government officials to bribe them. What have those money, what impact have they had? Look at what I just read to you. From 2003 to 2024, over 2.4 billion. That could be 2.9 billion because it said over 2.4. So that could be 2.9, from between 2.4 to 2.9 billion. From 2003 to 2024, over 2.4 billion have been spent in Liberia as aid. 2.5 billion or 2.4 billion spent in Liberia, and we can see nothing, no impact on any sector. There is no sector in Liberia that have any impact, meaningful impact on the citizens. Only corrupt government official it have impact on, because these government officials put their relatives in those key areas. These corrupt government officials put their relatives in those key areas. And then if you are common or private citizens, for somehow, some means, and you had that position, this same government official will make it possible to run propaganda against you to remove you. And they put their people in there. Over $2.4 billion have been spent in Liberia in aid from 2023, let's say 2003 to 2024. Look at the country. Now, let me show you why Donald Trump is making some of these decisions. Let me show you something. We did our research before coming here. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. I'm not against Donald Trump, what he's doing for his country. What are you doing for your country? Leaders, African leaders. What are you doing? Should I sit down here and blame Donald Trump if he called aid from African nations? What is my business got to do with that? Are you not a leader? Don't you have resources? Don't you have resources? When last have you sat and asked question about these foreigners coming into your country? When last have you sat and asked question where your minerals are going? When last have you sat and asked question why can't we process our resources in this country? When last have you sat and asked question why don't we have control over our own resources? When last have you sat and asked question why are we not the one digging our resources and processing it? Why, when have you sat and asked a question, why don't we have factory here to make our resources into finished products? When have you sat down and asked question? Who are the people buying our finished product? But no, it is the other way around. You are the one buying your own finished product. But let's see what Donald Trump is taking, the decision he's taking, because he wants better his country. Look at this here. International citizen insurance, the best healthcare in the world. The best healthcare in the world. And by the way, when I was doing this research, when I look, 167 countries in the world, right? 167 countries. What is more than that? But it was 167 that they show that had the best health care. The 167 countries that had the best health care. The US came 60 out of 167. The US came 60. Do you think Donald Trump want to see the US being 60, or Donald Trump want to see the US being 6 or 5 or 4 or 1? Who don't want the best for their country? Out of 167 countries with the best healthcare system, the US came 60. Guess when or where is Liberia? Liberia is 160 out of 167 countries in the world with the best healthcare system. Liberia came 160. How will Liberia be 160 out of 167 when report has shown to us that from 2003 to 2024, the United States has spent over $1.4 billion. That could be $1.9 billion in Liberia in aid. So why should we come 160 out of 167 countries? We should be maybe 30. In the US is 60, we should be maybe in the 30. Or we should even be the first. Because comparing the economy of Liberia, comparing the landmass of Liberia, comparing the population of Liberia, we should even be the first. If $1.9 billion have been spent from 2003 to 2024, looking at the landmass, looking at the population, we should be first over the United States in terms of healthcare. But look here, who the first? Look here. Look here. Look at something here. Global Index reveal the countries with the best healthcare. Healthcare system vary significantly from country to country, making it difficult to determine where the best healthcare in the world can be found. Listen to this. Look at this right here. Look at this. Let's see something here. Okay. Look here. The 10th country with the best healthcare. Taiwan, the first. South Korea, the second. Australia, the third. Canada, the fourth. Sweden, 5. Ireland, 6. Netherlands, 7. Germany, 8. Norway, 9. Israel, 10. The United States is not among. So are you angry when Donald Trump said the U.S. healthcare system is poor, is deteriorating? So we need this aid to invest in the healthcare system. Why should you have problem with aid? He's a nationalist. He wants to be the first. He is saying, how can Taiwan be the first? When the U.S. is the one giving aid, how can these people be the first? Because if you check the list that the U.S. is giving so-called aid to to improve their healthcare system, Taiwan will be among. So Donald Trump is saying, how can we give aid to Taiwan, and Taiwan is the first to improve our healthcare system, and we weigh 60. We're not even among the 10th here. How can we give it to Korea? How can we get aid to Australia, Canada? How can we get aid to them? But they're beating us down. Over $2.4 billion have been spent in Liberia since 2003 to 2024. But Liberia is among the poorest nation in the world when it comes to healthcare. Out of 167, Liberia is 160. Let's see something here. Let's see something here. So you see that? So now, in terms of Europe here, right? Look right here. Australia. Now we come to Europe. Australia is number 1 in Europe. Canada in Europe. Sorry, not Europe. Australia is not in Europe. But they're going by country now, right? So they pick certain country, right? So Australia is number 1 among the country they pick. So let's read here. According to the 2024 Mirror report, Australia, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom have been the best healthcare system through the differences in overall performance among most countries are relatively small. So that's what I was saying. Liberia, a small country like that, depending on the landmass, less populated, densely populated, just 5 million plus. If $2.4 billion, over $2.4 billion have been spent from 2003 to 2024, and we stay among the poorest, that speaks a volume of corruption somewhere. But let's see here. Canada, number 1. Canada, number 1. Look right here. And then Netherlands, the second. Right? UK, the third. New Zealand, 4th. France, 5. Sweden, 6. Canada, 7. Switzerland, 8. Germany, 9. Before the UK, before the US, 10. So you see it right here. These are the, you see, health outcome right here. The US. She's low in everything. If you check the graph, right there, see the graph. Equated right here. Administrative efficiencies. She's low again. The only area she came first is the care process. The care process. In fact, not first, but second. The care process. She came second. And then this person came first in the care process. New Zealand came first in the care process. Now, access to care. Access to care. 10. She came 10 again. Overall ranking, 10th. So these are the things Donald Trump looking at. He said, no, we got to color these 8. So why we will get angry? So look right here. The best healthcare in the world. The best healthcare in the world. Look right here. You see Singapore? You see Japan? South Korea? Taiwan? All the way, right? Look, even Cuba. Cuba 27. You African leaders, look at Cuba here. Look at Cuba. 27. 27, Cuba. A whole continent, Africa, we're not even there. Only a few countries here, like Tunisia 79. 79 Tunisia here. You see it? 29 Tunisia. Look at it. You see that? They are there. I'm even looking for Liberia, where she has received over $2.4 billion. I don't know where she has said. You can't even see Liberia here. You can't even see most of these countries that receive this so-called aid. You can see them. No, where are they? They're not here. Where them? They're not here. They can't be found. They are not here. You can see them. No. Look at Cuba here. I'm proud of Cuba. Fidel Castro. I'm proud of you. Look at Costa Rica. Costa Rica here, 30. Costa Rica, 30. Costa Rica that don't have resources. Look at 30. But all these abundant resources in Africa there. You can see even African nation. Where Tunisia, I've seen here, which is 79. Where are the African nations here? Where are the African nations? I can see them. Well, all the boasting they can boast. All the boast they can boast. Where are you guys? Africa, come out. Where are you? Where are you? I see Jamaica right here. 67. Jamaica trust it. We got Jamaica over Tunisia. I see Morocco. Morocco 86. Jamaica, you try. I see Cape Verde. 77. Cape Verde. What Nigeria? One of the leading producer of oil in Africa. Nigeria, where are you? Where are you, Nigeria? Look at France. France 20. These rogue that exploiting Africa. Look at it. 20. That is why they don't want to let Abraham Traore to go. Top 10 European country for healthcare in 2024. Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, United Kingdom, Switzerland, France, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Luxembourg. Are they there? Where is Africa, my people? You will not see where yet. Because we divided. We divided. Now they come to the US here, but it says state with the best healthcare system. Now they say state. They say the world. Massachusetts, Hawaii, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont. State with the West rated healthcare system. Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Mississippi. I mean, I will take this with this about Africa. But see, we didn't see African nation here. I mean, look at to the larger extent, 55 nations. We can only see Tunisia. We see Tunisia here. Yeah. God. With all the resources, we boast all that we have. I want to see Tunisia. Let me see again. Morocco. I see Morocco. The northern nation. Where the West? What a Western country. The Western nation in Africa that want to kill Abraham Traore for the West to survive. I can see them. What Nigeria? What Ghana? What Africa? What Benin? Where are you guys? I can see you here. I see Algeria. One of the northern nation. Algeria 70. I can see the northern country. What the West? These so-called idiots African leaders in the West. So let's take this out. So that is why Donald Trump wants to improve the healthcare system. That is why Donald Trump said no more aid. So why should you get angry? This man wants to improve his country. So then, go back to your resources. Ask yourself, what are our resources going? Where are they going? Which country? When you sit down there, these foreigners come and loot your resources. They gave you chicken chain. They improve their economy. They improve your system. Then when they take aid, then you get angry. You should be giving aid to the U.S. You should be giving aid to these people. And you want to get angry at Donald Trump? Trump, I like your policy. Because those aid don't manifest in the livelihood of the people in the first place. Let's see something here quick. Let's see something here. How phone have been played out of Liberia. Playing phone. See something. I mean, real phone. Let's see here. Let me see if that's this. Playing real phone out of Liberia. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I saw there, I laughed. I said, that's good. Just look at this. I laughed. Very good. The image of Liberia now to the wall. Negative. Look right here.
$1 million for voter confidence in Liberia. Biodiversity in Nepal, $19 million.
Again, those can be important. You have to those could be helpful.
Okay, so how could biodiversity in Nepal for $19 million? We spent $20 million for a new Sesame Street in Iraq.
You have to both justify that these programs are bad, and then no, you can flash this. This is a program. It costs this much money. You can say that.
Do you know anything about Liberia? I mean, I happen to know a lot about it, but that's a separate issue.
It's not about what I know. It's about the people in the government making these decisions.
Yes, and they have proven themselves to be robber barons over the last 20 years. They're spending your money with reckless abandon and total indiscretion. You think the government is innocent until proven guilty. I think the government, after what we've learned, is guilty until proven innocent. They have to justify why this money is being spent in the first place.
Wait a minute. That's how the law works. Innocent until proven guilty. You have to prove that.
That's not how taxpayer money works, though. It's that if we find waste, you're going to have to over-justify why this exists in the first place. This is the first time in my lifetime we have an administration going after the waste, going after the size of government to balance the budget so that you guys don't live as indentured servants and Russian serfs for the rest of your life.
Yes, folks, this is how the world know about Liberia now. You heard him. He said, I didn't even know about Liberia. So now, the cry in that area. If I go somewhere, oh, I'm a Liberian, the first thing they're going to look at that stinking poor country. He's from the country where our taxpayer money go. They have no idea about voting. Diversity. $19 million going to them. That's how they're going to look at me. Even if I try to tell them how the United States have looted our iron ore since in 1940s. Even if I try to tell them the United States have one of the largest reserves of iron ore in the world and they stole it from Liberia. They exploited it from Liberia. They will not believe me. Because they will say, how can you tell me the United States exploit or have taken your iron ore from Liberia, but we don't want giving you aid? Why are you not giving your aid? When you say you have all these resources, aren't you the one supposed to be giving your aid? They will not believe me. If I tell them the United States have been stealing from us, our goal, if I tell them once upon a time, our finance minister was appointed from Washington, D.C., white man that was in Liberia, they will not believe me. If I tell them what makes Liberia poor is because our finance minister, the money, the people who manage the Liberian resources, the Liberian capital, they were white people appointed by Washington, D.C., and they were taking all those money, bringing it to Washington, D.C., building your economy, living Liberia like that, building your role. They will not believe me. The only thing they will believe is, I am a nation that live on aid. Because that is what they see. That is what they see, and that is what they will believe. They will not believe me. That America have been stealing our oil, they will not believe me. That the U.S. have been taking our gold, our diamond, they will not believe me. That the U.S., the firestone they have, if I tell them the car that you ride, the tire, on that car. If I tell them, when you have a party and you go to the dollar store and you buy plastic cups and chair, plastic cup, plastic spoon, those things. If I tell them the product of that is from Liberia, our rubber, they will not believe me because that has not been told to them. If I tell them you are exploiting my country just in rubber over trillions of dollars, and out of that trillions of dollars, you are just taking $1.something million and giving it to me as in A, they will not believe me because that has not been told to them about where the rubber, where the Firestone is coming from. They will not believe me. And I don't hold them responsible for not believing me. I hold my government official responsible for these people not to believe me. Because they are the cause, they want to be corrupt. They do not want to put things in place. They do not want to put policy in place. So I don't blame them for them not believing me of what I tell them. What Liberia is to America. What Liberia is, the golden dust, the golden stone to America. They will not believe me. How to some extent the American economy is largely dependable on Liberia. They will not believe me. However, tell them, do you know how many thousands of people that have been hired in the US here, that when they wake up, they go to work, they make money and come back home, and 2 weeks they get paid, and they take care of their children and pay their mortgages and their bill, all because of Firestone and Bridgestone. They will not believe me because that has not been told to them. Because our rubber and Firestone employ thousands of Liberians here, Americans. Some of them don't even know where that rubber comes from. So if I try to educate them, they will not believe me. All they will believe is the $1.5 million. All they will believe is the $17 million for tax or reform policy. But I will not hold them responsible. I will hold my government official responsible for these people not to believe me. I will hold my government official responsible for my robber leaving Liberia coming to the US. I will hold my government official responsible for my diamond, my gold leaving Liberia coming to the US. I will hold my government official responsible for my iron ore leaving the Liberia going to UK, going to Norway, going to Sweden. I will hold them responsible. I don't blame President Trump. I support President Trump with my whole heart. I may not believe on some of the things he do, but what I talk about, I believe in, I support him wholeheartedly. I support him. Let's take a quick break here. Let me get something to drink. I'll be back.
Government didn't stop killing black leaders because they had some moral awakening. They stopped because they didn't need to anymore. Once they wiped out the radicals, Malcolm, MLK, Fred Hampton, all of them, the revolution got cut off at the knees. After that, why waste a bullet when you can just kill a movement before it even starts? By the 80s, they swapped out black power for black profit. They handed out a few golden tickets, made sure there were just enough rich and famous black faces to sell the idea that the system works. Instead of liberation, they handed out contracts, endorsements, executive positions. Instead of black power, they gave them black excellence. And look, ain't nobody saying black folks shouldn't be successful. But success inside the system is not the same as dismantling it. They let a few through the gates just as long as they played by the rules. And those rules Stay in line. Talk about personal success, not collective struggle. Build a brand, not a movement. They don't got to assassinate anyone when they can just buy them out. Or better yet, turn them into a joke. Look at what they did to Colin Kaepernick. Stood up for something, got blackballed out of the league. Angela Davis spent decades on FBI watch lists. Fred Hampton, they learned their lesson from him. Don't let him get big enough to matter in the first place. So now they just lock them up before they can get too loud. Call them terrorists, call them extremists, turn them into a headline, a mugshot, a social media circus. And for the rest, they dangle the American dream in front of them like a carrot. Work hard, climb the ladder, keep your head down, but for whose dream? Black median wealth is projected to be zero by 2053. They never fixed redlining, they just rebranded it as gentrification. They never ended Jim Crow, they just turned it into mass incarceration. More black men in prison today than there were enslaved in 1860. That ain't a coincidence, that is by design. But the thing is, this ain't just about race. Yeah, black folks got the worst of it, but they ain't the only ones caught in this machine. They keep everybody distracted. Working class whites, Latinos, immigrants, poor folks of every shade, fighting each other while the real power stays untouched. They convinced half the country that a CEO with their skin color is their ally, while their own neighbor is the enemy. Divide and conquer, same as always. So the real question ain't what happened to the movement, it's how do we bring it back? Because if they don't have to kill revolutionaries anymore, that means we already lost once. And winning again, that ain't going to look comfortable. It ain't going to look polite. The next wave of revolutionaries are going to seem too much at first, too radical, too angry, too unwilling to compromise. But that's the only way to go forward. The civil rights movement was called extreme in its time. The labor movement was called un-American. Every fight for freedom has been smeared before it's been won. So what's it going to take? Because if history's got anything to teach us, it's that nothing changes till people get real uncomfortable. The system don't break itself. The question is, are we ready to break it? The United States government didn't.
All right. That summarizes it. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to add my thought because we're running out of time. But you saw what is in there. Nothing changed. It is what it is. It is still what is going on. There's nothing changed what you see in there. These people are so sophisticated in what they do. They know how to play the game. That's all. And you see what they try to do to Abraham Traore. Take the main leader down. Take him down. And by the way, that's how Liberia, quote unquote, was created. That's how the name Liberia was created. Right? When those people tried to overthrow James Maroon, the Africans that fought to be free, and they caught them, they killed the leaders. They killed the leaders. So the followers were the people they used to create the colony in Liberia. But that's a history for itself. We're not going into that. But that's what they always do, is a system. So they always go with the system, kill the leaders. And then before another person rise up, it's going to be 10, 15, 20, 30 years before another brave person. You saw when they killed Thomas Sankara. You saw how many years it took. You saw how many years it took to get another Thomas Sankara. We're talking about 30 years before another Thomas Sankara came, which is Abraham Traore. You saw since they killed Patrick Lumumba. We have not yet getting another Patrick Lumumba in DRC Congo. So they always go for the leader. Since they killed Gaddafi, we have never yet seen another Gaddafi. It's going to take another 30 to 40 years before we see another Gaddafi. And by that time, the descendant of those that killed Gaddafi, they will learn their history to why their forefathers killed Gaddafi. They have the playbook. They have the playbook. And they will go by the playbook. Another person that will come out, another Patrick Lumumba that will come out in DRC Congo. The same people like Patrick Lumumba, their descendants have the playbook. So the next Patrick Lumumba that will rise in DRC Congo, the descendant of the people like Patrick Lumumba, the descendant will rise and will go by that same playbook and know how to come out with another technique. That is why John Mahama have to be protected. If he actually go by the playbook of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghanaian, African, the same way the Burkinabe, the AES, the citizens support those leaders, all of you guys got to support and protect John Mahama. It's not going to be easy, but you should know you are fighting a revolutionary battle, not for you, but for the nation, for the land, and for the next generation to come and say, our ancestors fought for us. And that's why we are here today. You have to stand up the same way the AES nation are standing up. It's not going to be easy for John Mahama. But together we can. We will. So that is why today we have Thomas Sankara after 30 years. And they want to kill him. Abraham Traoré. But the citizens are protecting him. The army, we say thank you. Thank you for protecting Abraham Traoré. You are not fighting just for you, but you are fighting for your children and your generation and your country, your land, a place to call home. You are fighting for it. Thank you. The game have not changed. The rule have not changed when it comes to them. It's just the tactics that continue to change. That continue to change. The tactics is the one that continue to change. Let's continue. Let's continue to the next topic. Before we continue to the next topic, let's see Abraham Traoré. Let's see something here. Sorry, folks. Before we continue to the next topic, we're almost done. But let's see.
President, there has been Let's continue. So you see some of the things are going on. Like we said, the system did not change. The attitude did not change. It's that the method of application. And you see what is going on. But anyway, she said what she said. Let's continue. Let's look at the last topic. All right. The last topic. We're not going to take on this last topic. Let's look at the last topic here. And this is for the African leaders. This is for the African leaders. What is going on right now? What is going on right now? What is going on right now in the world, right? Let's see something here. All right. So this was a meeting here last week, because we in today's Sunday, so we're in another week now. This was a meeting here last week in Europe, European leaders. This was March 15, 2025. It says UK's Timor says correlation of willing will help Ukraine in event of peace. Now, let's discuss this. Correlation of willing. Now, the reason why they say willing, I will break it down for you why they say willing. I already finished reading and analyzing. I will break it down for you. But let's see here. The British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, says on Saturday, a so-called correlation of the willing group of Western nations will draw a plan to help secure Ukraine on the land. Now, we're going to explain this, why they say Ukraine. On the land, at sea, in the sky. You see, to the African leaders, why they were so specific, why the Europeans are so specific about the land, the sea, and the sky. Those are the three things in this world. If you don't, as a citizens, have access, if you don't, as a citizens, can maintain it, can own it, you are nobody. The Europeans are trying to secure what they think is essential for them. You see, nobody will just go on an European land and have military base and own it and do what they want to do. Nobody will go on the European seas and have military base and own it with their navy and do what they want to do. Nobody will go over European sky, even America, the West, in their sky, to their landmass and put your plane, your helicopter, and do what you want to do. Because they know if those things happen, you have no error. You are nothing but a spittle. A spittle right there. Now, let's see something here. Let's say correlation of the willing. Western nation coming together, right? Look at this. Look at this. You know why they said the willing? Because they know not all European nations in Europe will be part of this. So they are saying nations that will be willing to come together to have one army to go fight Russia. Because they are telling you, even though they are making peace talk, like you have seen recently, that we even reported on it last week, even though they are making peace talk with Russia, but they will not go and sit and fold their hands, because the reason why they are making peace talk, let's be frank, they are telling you the only reason why they are making peace talk with Russia right now is because if they go to war, they will not win. They are not prepared. They are divided. And the only way they will win is to have a correlation, is to come together and have one European army. You African leaders, what are you doing? We have been preaching about this, to have one currency, to have one African army, to have one passport. What are you guys doing? See this European. It was the same European that came and divided Africa. It is the same European that came and told you have individual nation, have individual currency, have individual passport, have individual borders. But at the same time, the same European that told you this, they are enjoying unity. No borders. They have currency they use together. They're talking about even funding army. How can they be enjoying these things? But at the end, they come to you, they say, don't enjoy it. Stop being like this. African leaders, what is wrong with you people? Now they are talking about, instead of having or how they call it, Jamo Army, they will not win. England, this, that. They should have one army, like the same way they have the United Nations. So that means they are not going to have time for the so-called United Nations. That's the same thing we've been talking about. African leader, do not advocate about permanency, about people. Look, advocate about integration on the African continent. That is our power. That is our UN. That is our everything. Africa integrated on the African continent. But coming to this Western nation, the Western nation, they don't even have time for that UN because they know the relevance of the UN in their interest is depreciating, is declining, is diminishing. So they don't really have time. The only reason why you still see them coming, they still holding on to it because they still have the power of what they call the superpower. That's why they still holding on to that title of the UN and still coming to it. That is why. Because if they find this correlation, this military correlation now, they're going to have one army. What is the importance of the UN to them? So instead of saying Germany coming, UK coming, this coming, no, they are only coming because they are going with the same interest. So they are coming with one nation now. So you 55 African nations will still be going there, sitting down there with your dummy set. While the European Union, they call it coalition of the willing group. Coalition of the willing group. Now they have one army. So if they have one army, why would they go to the United Nations with all these nations? Only one nation will represent them. Because because before that person comes, what they will say, that's what that person coming to speak about, and that's what that person will say. You so-called dumb mud brain puppet African leader still want to come at 55 nations, while Europe will be coming as one. So, because they even know that superpower title is dwindling, is failing. So they are finding a way, even as the superpower title dwindling, as the superpower title fail, they still come together and still find, at the end of the day, Europe still stand. So how can they preserve Europe instead of having that title of Germany, England? Because they know these are titles that have failed. So even as they're having peace talk with Russia, they are preparing themselves. They will still go back to Russia and fight to defeat Russia. Because with Russia in their way, we already know now, the fight they're doing with Russia and China is about Africa. Now, if you are not yet getting it, then you are delusional and you may be hallucination to think that these people have your interest. They are speaking because of this. No, this is now we're speaking because in the interest of Russia or China again. We speak in the interest of Africans and African continent and the African people, period. But we are speaking the obvious here to open the minds of Africans to see reality and be like, okay, then I think this is what we need to do now. So African leaders, European nations are grouping together to have one military army. Things that you don't want to do, they are doing it now. Things that they say don't do is not good for you, that's what they are doing. And you there, oh, I'm a Ghanaian, I'm a Liberian, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a we in the same place. At the end of the day, those named Nigerian, Ghanaian, Liberian, they are colonial identity. Are we slaves to still carry this slave mark, to still carry this slave identity scarf on us? We are Africans. Period. By the time we start saying that, doing that, speaking that, then we are heading to the right place. Because these are leaders having their meeting. Did you see African here? But you so-called African will invite these people to come in your meeting. You will invite them to come to your AU summit, to come have UN or AU representative. Why should you have AU representative on an African summit? Why should you have AU representative in an ECOWAS summit? It's Jimmy Papa. Now Ghana say it's Jimmy Papa. Are you stupid? They were having their summit. Did they have African or representative there? After holding a virtual meeting around 25 Western leaders, Stamos says in a statement, we will build up Ukraine's own defense and armed forces and be ready to deploy a coalition of the willing in the event of a peace deal to help secure Ukraine on the land, at sea, and the sky. You see that? So they are going to group and form one army, and they will use this army to fight Russia in Ukraine. So don't think they are fighting for peace deal. The peace deal is a peace deal that's going to last forever. It's a peace deal that's going to make them to regroup themselves and come back. Because at this time, they can't fight. Because they have tried. They have tried it, spent million, billion. They have sent weapons, and they can't win. And they are seeing a weakness. So the peace deal that they are doing right now, it is a peace deal for short term, not long term. Short term to get them prepared. And then in the near future, you'll see them going back to war. The plan is to destroy these leaders, these nations. Don't forget, that's what they did. When Russia came on the side of Africa, fighting for independence, they defeated them. And that was the end of African independence, going to Russia. Without Russia being defeated, without China being defeated, Africa will not be defeated so easily. And they can't come directly to fight Africa. They have to find a means. And how can they find that means? Africa, you better start preparing. Because if they fail the other side, they are coming the other way. A hint to a watch is quite sufficient. Let's watch the last video from Abraham Traore. Africa's best leader. Africa's best leader. The world's best leader. The world's best leader. Abraham Traore, the AES nation. They are the world's best leader.
A long discussion about how long you will stay and when you will organize elections. How long will the transition last? Is it today? Do you have an answer to this? Or do you think it is not a priority? For you, how long will Captain Ibrahim Traore be in charge before organizing elections to step down?
I was going to ask you a question in return before answering you.
I'm not here to answer questions.
Sir, it's a debate. It's nice. If today, in 6 months, we decided to abandon the people, you, as a very objective man, aware of our situation, what would you say? What would your comment be?
Honestly, I prefer to stick to that, even though you know my true thoughts.
All right. Since we've been here, we haven't taken a single day off. The whole exec...
But when you say that, politicians say, this is our job, since there are those who do it. They do their job. We want to return to democracy. We want to go back to parliament with people who are elected. We want to let the people speak. Are we staying like this or setting up a new model? They learned here. We don't want them learning elsewhere and applying it here.
To put them on the right track. They learned their profession. This profession is... We don't want people to learn this profession elsewhere and come apply it here. We want to create a model. Because the way things are done here is in fact not the right way.
For you, sir, President, there's no question of talking about organization, about elections and transition.
Yes, we're going to organize the local elections right now.
So we need to reset everything.
No. Aside from the system that's in place, which needs to be reviewed, the elections, they concern all of Burkina Faso. Do you think they are ready today to go to Soleil, to Falangonto, to campaign like... But they are Burkina-based. They must definitely vote.
First, we need to get the wire through.
There needs to be a minimum level of security so that if there's a campaign, people can go everywhere in Burkina, explain their ideas to the Burkinabe people, and the people will choose, because it's no longer about distributing goods. There will be reforms on the electoral code. It's over, that's it. If you get caught up in this, you will be disqualified. Well, I'm not going to get ahead of Iran in the water, but I can tell you that there are reforms coming. This way of doing things, of buying people's consciences, is over. Our mission is to awaken people's consciousness so that they never accept this again. If you think you can govern the country, you need to explain your political program. What are you going to do? And maybe after a while, the people will evaluate whether you should continue your term or not. In short, we won't say everything, but there will be reforms in the electoral system. And to participate in the elections, all Burkinabés must vote.
Mr. President, there has been a long discussion about how long you will stay and when you will organize elections. How long will the transition last? Is it today? Do you have an answer to this? Or do you think it is not a priority? For you, how long will Captain Ibrahim Traoré be in charge before organizing elections to step down?
I was going to ask you a question in return before answering you.
I'm not here to answer questions.
Sir, it's a debate. It's nice. If today...
All right, folks, so that's it. So I end of this video to say is that, like he said, this is our mission. We want to do it the African way. We want to do it the Burkinabe way. We don't want to send people overseas to go and learn and then take that ideology because they're going to be manipulated. And then because we have found out that taking Western ideology, taking Western democracy, bringing it to Africa, it have yielded nothing but very polluted. So he's not against people voting in Burkina Faso. We are not against African voting, but it should be done the African way. American democracy, let it stay in America. Let it be American democracy. We can have our own form of democracy. We call it how we want to call it. But as long as it's working for our interests, that's what we want. We do not want a democracy that is not working for the people's interests, but for Western interests. And you heard what he said. It's not like we are here to change everything that is here, but we are here to reform. We are reformer. We are here to reform the system so that if anyone is caught in selling votes, you'll be disqualified automatically. So that if anyone is caught in accepting bribe, like the election commission, basically you are speaking to the election commission. If the election commission hold bribe from the West, like how the United States go and spend $1.5 million to neck, to bribe. You may ask me, how do you know that? How do I know that? Then let me ask you too, how do you know that the $1.5 million is being spent on voters to increase their confidence? Do I have to get money to increase my confidence? I have to vote my leaders that I want for me, leaders someone I believe in. How do you know it has been spent on the people? So don't ask me stupid, dumb question. How do you know that election commission, they bribe the people? How do you know that the money is spent on them voter confidence? How do you know that the $17 million or the $19 million it has been spent to educate or liberate government on tax reform policy? How do you know that? Did you ask any of those government officials if they have ever been educated by the American or the money they're giving to them on tax reform policy or tax reform policy? Do you ask them whether they went to school about tax reform policy since they were in government, since they got in government? How do you know that too? That they're spending on them. These are all bribes. There is no one Liberian in Liberia you ask until you say, I benefited. I mean, the voters. I benefited from the $1.5 million that increased my confidence. I now have confidence in voting. That's stupidness. I now have confidence in voting, but that $1.5 million they get to next and increase my voting confidence. Then, oh yeah, then I was like, oh no, then I can vote. Then now I will vote. Stupidity. These are bribes given to neck to rig the election. Because they do the counting. They know what is in there. So they rig the elections. So that is what Abraham Traoré is talking about here. Money will not be given. We will reform it. If anybody is caught, you will be prosecuted. No foreign aid coming. It should be done the Burkinabe way. And no interfering. And not bringing AU observer, US observer, or does it make sense? Do you see any observer in the US election here? In fact, they lock down every system. Even social media, they lock it down. No information coming from OSA, ISA. Only ISA
and OSA. But nothing coming from outside is no information coming. All the things they talk about, the country here infiltrated American election, they're all BS, the lie. Nobody infiltrated the American election. They didn't want to wait to other people. They locked down everything here. They locked down everything. Donation, it can't come in. No donation. During that election time period, no donation from anywhere can come in. They can block it. They hold it. They investigate it. Even before that donation come, they will tell you nothing come in. Donation don't even come in. They block every communication. They know what communication coming in. If any communication from our election from us are coming in, they hold it. They scrutinize it. It's in a fun. And that's what Abraham Traore talking about. We don't need no foreigner to come sit on board as observer. To come observe what? Abraham Traore is saying, are you telling me Burkina Faso don't know how to observe the election? No more selling, no more buying votes, and no more selling votes. That's what Abraham Traore is talking about. We will do it the African way, and that is our mission. The African way. Not the American way in Africa. Not the European ways in Africa. Not Western ways in Africa. No. You don't see African ways in America, African ways in Europe. You don't see it. African way will be African way. And that is what we want. So if any African leader, you won't get it yet. You will get us to contend with. Thank you, folks. Thank you for being on. We end here. We've been on since 1 o'clock. Now it's 3:33. 3:33, right? So thank you so much for being on. Share the live. Subscribe. This year we want to make sure and reach to certain numbers of subscribers. So please do that. And that's all we ask for, because we want for the message to go. There's a political, educational platform. It's a revolutionary platform where we don't sugarcoating. We don't care whether you're a black person. We tell you the truth, because we are revolution. We are here to make people feel uncomfortable. We are not here to make people feel comfortable. It is a colonialist, the neo-colonialist that will talk to make you feel comfortable. But for us, we don't care how you feel. We don't care. Tear can roll from your eyes. We don't care. We are here to make you feel comfortable. And before change happens, people have to feel uncomfortable. Let me put it this way, not comfortable, I mean. Before things happen, people have to feel uncomfortable. And we are here to make you feel uncomfortable, because we want for change to happen. We want for change to take place. So we are not here to make it comfortable, because the more we make it comfortable, then we will seem to be a neo-colonialist. And God forbid, we are ever identified as a neo-colonialist. We are Pan-Africanists. And not the lukewarm Pan-Africanist. We are hot. We're not lukewarm. No. We want to be hot, we are hot Pan-Africanist. We want to be cold, we become cold Pan-Africanist. We don't get lukewarm, no. We want to be cold, we cold on you. We don't give you a chance. We want to be hot, we hot on you. We don't give you a chance. We are not lukewarm. Warm, cold, no. We want to be cold, we cool the ice. When we waste on you, we waste on you. We want to be hot, we hot. When we touch you, we touch you. That's the kind of Pan-Africanist we are. Peace.
The white power structure, because that's all we have in America. And the white power structure today is just as much interested in perpetuating slavery as the white power structure was 100 years ago. Only now they use modern methods of doing so. And realizing that the black people in this country are waking up and becoming filled with a desire to be looked upon as men and as human beings. The white power structure, to slow down that struggle for freedom and human dignity, uses tricks. 100 years ago they could do it with chains. Today they use tricks. And one of the tricks that they've invented is this token integration. To get Negro, so-called Negro leaders to accept a few token crumbs of integration that don't solve any problem for the masses of black people in this country whatsoever, but it does make the hand-picked Negroes be satisfied to slow down the cry of the masses. And a good example of that is, as soon as the spirit of rebellion or revolution began to spread among the masses of black people in this country, and they began to take an active part, and they showed that they weren't confined to this nonviolent approach, then the government or the power structure began to sit up and take notice and